Whole life been right about right now.
Peace, loves. This is Wild Truckin', trucker talk, trucker thoughts, and trucker stories. I am Truu5Star. As we prepare to navigate through these conversation highways and byways, please tap in, like all the way in, because I have a special guest today who is very knowledgeable about this trucking game. And his presence online on social media is one that you want to tap into as well. So, driver, you have a handle. What do you go by? Do you have like a CB handle?
So I do. My CB handle that I kind of inherited from my dad is called Puppy Dog. So on the radio, everybody called me Puppy Dog.
Puppy Dog?
So,
that's
yes,
cute.
ma'am.
Oh, that's cute. But your name is Joe, correct?
Correct.
Joe. Now, what would you prefer me to call you? I'm gonna call you Joe.
Joy's fine.
All right.
No complaints on that. Joy's fine.
Okay. Now, you mentioned your dad. So one of my questions is, what led you to trucking? Would it be your dad?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in the industry, I kind of think I inherited it, right? So, yeah, I guess the answer would be, my dad. He definitely influenced me.
Okay. So would you say that led you to trucking though? Like, what was the journey to say, you know what, I'm gonna be a driver? Did you do some other things first, or?
So, initially out of school, I worked on the river as a deckhand, lead man, fleet mate. And those are all the positions that I did. And it's funny because I'm on the ferry right now on the river, right?
Wow.
So I guess that's
divine timing, divine alignment. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I did that straight out of high school because I was kind of being hard headed. I wanted to take my own path, not necessarily do what my dad did, right?
Okay.
So after working out there like a year and a half, almost 2 years, I decided, you know what, why am I out here? Why am I working hard, breaking my back when I could be driving, right?
Okay.
So at that point, I decided to get off the river, and within 2 weeks, I had my license. Now, of course, I mean, I was around trucks all my life, so I did drive them, but not necessarily to the level of experience that I needed to really take it over the road. So I had some working knowledge, but not necessarily enough to, go on the road. So at that point, that's what kind of drove me to driving. But I kind of felt like it was inevitable anyway. So at that point, it was kind of inevitable that I would, go into trucking because it made sense for me at the time. So yeah, that's kind of what lured me into to driving trucks.
Okay, nice. That's a decent story. I like that. Now, what are you driving? What are you pushing? What kind of truck do you have?
Okay, so I kind of drive two trucks, right? So I do heavy haul. With the heavy haul, transporting oversized loads, things of that nature, big loads, massive loads, and stuff like that. I'm sorry for the camera movement.
That's okay.
Yeah, so we typically transport major loads all over the place, requiring escorts, permits, things of that nature. And then on my regular unit, which is a 2014 model Peterbilt, it's just a truck that I use to do power only. I use it to do step deck and flatbed as well. So it's kind of all the things I'm into. And I also do power only down in the New Orleans area.
For those who don't know.
Well, so power only is basically they own the trailer, I own the truck, and I use their trailer in transporting.
Okay.
And that could be use their trailer to transport freight, or it could be just repositioning their trailer with nothing in it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you also mentioned step deck.
The step deck basically is a trailer that sits usually about 3.5 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Allowing you to haul loads that would typically be higher than what a flatbed can handle. So that's kind of your in-between trailer, in between a flatbed and an RGN or a double drop, depends on whatever, language people want to use. They all haul pretty much almost the same thing.
Okay. So you're an owner operator, I take it.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
owner operator. Yeah, but I own the company too. So more often than not, we refer to owner operator as someone who owns the truck, but not necessarily the company. In my case, I own everything. So
okay.
Yes,
Nice. Well, Are you over the road or are you like a short haul? How do you run?
I'm money motivated.
Oh,
So what that means is they paying, I'm going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've done over the road as well as I've done local. So I've trained in all facets of trucking. But at this point in my career, 21 years into the industry, the money motivates me.
Okay.
If they're paying me, I'll leave here empty and go to California and pick up a load if they're paying. As well as I'll just do local. So, but this is what I tell a lot of young people. What I will not do is go to California for the same money that I can make going to Memphis in a round trip. So in other words, if it's 2,000 miles straight away, or I can do 1,000 miles out and come back that same 1,000 miles and make the same money, why would I go 2,000 miles away when I can do a 2,000 mile round trip and make the same money and be back home?
Okay. So you're doing your own load board too?
I do everything.
You do everything.
I do literally everything.
Wow. I'm hearing that more and more because I'm interested in dispatch. I've been learning it. I've been learning the game, and the deeper I get into it, the more I hear drivers say, I book my own loads. I'm like, you driving and booking your own loads? And that's happening, I guess, more and more as drivers find ways to kind of cut costs, I guess, to keep up with this economy.
Well, I think it's a personality trait, right? Some people struggle to talk to people. Some people lack the professionalism that most brokers want to deal with, right? Because some people are just like direct to the point. They don't really know how to turn it on and off, I'm gonna say. So what happens is generally some people need dispatching, and it's not because they can't look on a board and find their own loads. Some people juggle or struggle to juggle doing two things at once. For me, I've literally ran my own truck, haul my own loads while leasing on other carriers and dispatch them while I'm driving. Because the thing is, honestly, once you get a core base of customers, right? Like it's not look for a load every day. And like if you became a dispatcher, you wouldn't search for a load every day. You would kind of know where the freight is moving, who has what loads, and you'll kind of work to your strengths in that area by saying, hey, listen, I know I can get 10 to 15 loads out of this plant per week. So I'm going to send drivers there, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't want to give away too much of what you would be doing because then I'm going to leave you unemployed, right? So, but there's some tricks to that. Yeah, there's some tricks to it.
I like what you just said. That was game. That was intel.
Exactly.
That was intel. So thank you. So I am pushing a movement, if you will, right?
Okay.
Making wellness a priority in trucking. Because after being out there for a little while, I wasn't out there that long, and now I know I don't want to be like over the road out there all the time. I was out there long enough to know I don't want to do that, right? But I was also out there long enough to see that trucking is a culture. Would you agree? Would you agree?
No, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
It's a culture. It's a subculture. I am also pushing a health over hustle trucker culture. Have you ever found yourself kind of putting your wellness on the back burner for the hustle, for the sake of the hustle?
Not necessarily intentionally. Like for myself, I kind of eat to survive. So I don't necessarily eat out of enjoyment. So I eat to survive. What that does is, like a lot of people keep snacks in the truck. I don't do that. I'd rather go hungry for a day because it's not going to kill you, right? A day with no food. So I'd rather go hungry for a day. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, but you're not supposed to speak on it when you're doing it. So, but yeah, so I'd rather go hungry for a day as opposed to stuff myself with snacks. So I'm not one that does that. I do keep water in the truck and that's it. But other than that, I kind of eat to survive. So what happens is when you do that, then you kind of could almost eat a lot of the things that you probably shouldn't, because at this point now you're not overindulging. So that's one of my practices. But I'll say this too, the industry and the drivers as well has put the industry in a bad position. Truck stops can't offer healthy food if we're not going to buy it.
Okay.
So when they put the salad in there and they put the all these items in there, we have to buy it, right? Because they don't make money by throwing them away. So it's kind of a bad spot, for both parties to be in. We stuck with bad food, and then they can't buy the healthier things, so they're not buying it. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's kind of my thoughts on the health situation that we have.
That was a very good perspective. So that makes a lot of sense business-wise. I guess if the businesses aren't making money off selling the healthy things, that's sad, but I get what you're saying. Now, so since you make your own schedule and stuff, you're not like having to be away from home for over extended amounts of time where it takes a toll on your family life, because I've heard a lot of those stories where, you know, the job starts to literally, it has deteriorated relationships.
It can, and I'm not oblivious to that fact, and I'm having to take off and drive again. But I'm not oblivious to the fact of what it can do to a household. That's why I work so hard for myself to elevate in the industry to where I can make more money and spend less time out there. In my early years, I did spend a lot of time on the road, but I always made time to be a father. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that my future investment was as important as my day-to-day, investment as well in my household. So I always carved out time for my kids. Now, I mean, if I work 15 days out of a month, I feel like I've overworked, and that's the beauty of having a heavy house. Like sometimes I might just take a month off and get a solid 30 days of just picking my daughter up and dropping off, at school. Yeah. I make time every Sunday to bring my daughter to the bounce house. She loves to go to the bounce house. So every Sunday, I take her to the bounce house for an hour or more and let her have fun. So yeah, you got to prioritize it. But starting out is hard simply for the fact that you don't create your own schedule. So in my case, because I'm able to, I take full advantage of it, but I also know that I have future goals that I need to hit. I'll say this, as a man, no one's coming to rescue you when you're 60 years old and you haven't put nothing up for yourself. You still have to make sure that you hit those quotas as a man that you want to reach. And if not, then you kind of gonna be in a bad spot,
Yes. That's good perspective. Very wise. Very wise. And I appreciate your input and your time. And I know you're busy and you fit me in, so I'm not gonna hold you up. But I do have one more thing that I like to ask drivers. Okay. This is Wild Trucking. Trucker talk, trucker thoughts, and trucker stories. Good, bad, and gory. Now you said you've been out there in the game how long?
21 years.
21 years.
Yeah, this year I actually make 22. So
wow, I know you have some stories to tell. I wasn't out there that long, and I got some stories to tell. I'm gonna write about it one day. I'm gonna write about my experience one day.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Like, so what do you want? Crazy, wow, or exciting? I don't even know where to begin. What are you looking for? Tell me that.
Listen, let me tell you this. This is Wild Trucking.
Okay.
Trucker talk, trucker thoughts, trucker stories, good, bad, and gory. And I added that because I've heard some gory stories too.
That's a good one, because I'm kind of a boring person. Think.
You don't sound like you got a lot going on.
Well, I do, but I'm all business. Like, I rarely have a lot of fun. I just be so focused on the work. So I'm trying to think, what's a good story? What could I light your channel up with?
A good trucker story. And make sure you let us know where we can find you and follow you so people, can tap in, because you go live a lot. I admire that. I'm going to get there. I'm building 1 mile at a time, brother. 1 mile at a time.
But you can find me on Instagram. My channel is Joe Gipp, all one word, JOEGIPP. And that's Truckin Game. Truckin Game, TRUCK 'N, and then the word game, GAME. Now, trucking story, man. Yeah. All right.
I'll tell you. Wild?
Oh, yeah, I've seen a lot of wild stuff. I mean, actually, I just posted a video where a train derailed literally right in front of my truck, and I caught it on my dash cam. Ooh. So that was one thing that just happened right for New Year's, actually, December 30th. I tell you this, I was involved.
I know that scared you a little bit.
Well, what happened was it was going slow, and I think they had an issue with it being off track, is what I'm thinking now, and in retrospect. But they were trying to maybe get it to jump on, but it didn't. So the train just rolled over. So you can definitely check that out on my channel. So I was involved in an accident and in New Orleans, where I was making a left-hand turn from 2 turn lanes, right, inside and outside. So trucks always go to the outside. So I make the left turn, and the lady on the inside lane decided she was gonna try to hit my tire, get an accident, get paid or whatever. And I don't know if y'all know it, but Louisiana kind of raised the insurance premiums because they were having false claims a lot. So the lady decided she was going to hit my trailer and maybe get her a false claim. So when the police show up, he's over there. He was calling her moms. And I'm thinking to myself, is this really his mom, or is he just being overly friendly with her, right? So I asked him, I said, is that your mom? He was like, no, she just, older lady, I'm being respectful. So I'm like, okay, cool. Never took my side, never asked me what happened, right? So what happens is I said, well, hey, do this favor for me before you write a ticket or anything. So we walk back to the scene and we look at everything. So in the midst of her trying to make it seem like she didn't know what was going on, as I started explaining like what oversized banners is, things like that, she decided that she was going to confess that she held CDLs and that she knew more than what she let on, right? So in that same breath, the cop went from calling her moms and writing her ticket and telling her, since you got CDLs, you understand what those oversized banners mean, right? So she wound up getting ticketed on the spot, and then I wound up not even having to go to court on it because I didn't get ticketed and I didn't get sued or anything. So what I'll say the conclusion of that story is this: you got to know your stuff, and you also got to push past it and be the professional in the situation, because if you don't speak up for yourself, sometimes you'll walk away, get a ticket, and you'll lose out. Now, I do apologize because I would have prepared a better story for that, but I had some things going on this morning I had to deal with. So my apologies, but if you get me back on later, I will have something better for you. But that's kind of one of my crazy, wild stories where I thought, it would have turned out bad for me, but it worked out. So, but yeah.
That was very good. That was a good story, because also what I'm hoping for is that drivers will gain insight such as what you just shared. Because if you had lost your head and not kept your professionalism and not spoke up for yourself and said, wait a minute, let me talk to you for a minute, to let it breathe, to let the situation breathe a little bit, then the outcome could have been totally different. So that was a lesson.
Exactly.
I appreciate it.
But let me say this in closing, okay?
Yeah.
A lot of people follow my channel. A lot of people look at my page, and a lot of people DM me. I'm probably one of the most DM'd people in the industry, and it's because I don't sell a program or anything, right? So a lot of people just ask me free questions. I don't charge them, and then I answer one-on-one questions for them. But this is the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of people want to know how I do what I do, right? And one of the things that I took throughout my experience of the 21 years was that I wanted to learn from the biggest companies in the industry. So even though I owned my own truck since I was 20 years old, right? Started driving at I got my license at 19, owned my own truck since 20, right? I parked that truck and I went and drove for Snyder and got over the road experience. Whereas I could have just did it on my own. Okay. Yeah. And then from there, I got training from Landstar. I worked for Basso, the tank company as well. So I trained with a lot of major companies that allowed me to take things from them that I learned. And I said all that to say this: a lot of people DM me wanting to know how can they do what I did in a matter of months as opposed to years. And this is the thing. When you skip steps, you lose valuable training and teaching that helps you to do what I'm doing. So when you look at me and you say, man, dude got, well over almost $1 million worth of equipment now. He's invested in a lot of other things, and they want to know how I do that. But the thing is, I didn't skip steps. That's how I do it. I took my time and I built. Now I'm 41. I'm still pretty young, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I didn't cut the line. I took the heartache. Yeah. So do that, and I hope it work out for everybody. And I definitely appreciate you having me on. And I wish your channel nothing but well and blessings, right? So
thank you. Well, listen, wait, before you go though, I have to say this, because you said that. I have been really dealing with that. I made a video earlier. I'll probably post it because I'm really like sharing what I'm going through. Like what you just said gave me chills, because you are so on point with that message. You can't skip steps. You just got to go through the growing pains of whatever you're building or whatever you're working towards. You just got to go through the growing pains so that you can, once you get to where you're trying to go, you can have a sense of pride and a true understanding of what it is that you got going on, because you built it. Blood, sweat, and tears. And
I agree.
you invested your energy and time and attention, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Well, but a lot of learning, what people don't understand is about the information you're privileged to, right? So being in those rooms, being in those phone conversations, talking to a multitude of dispatchers over the years when I did work for companies, and believe it or not, I've been self-employed. I probably worked for a company maybe 3 years in total out of the 21 years, or almost 22 now of being in the industry. But the thing was, still just being around people throughout the industry, it allowed me to pick up on certain things, conversations, see how things was done. And when it was all said and done, I took that information and I ran with it. So like I said, when you skip steps and you work for a company 6 months, say I'm going to buy my own truck, this is the thing. What do you know how to do for yourself other than drive? Because if driving was just the key that you needed to go off on your own, then everyone that drives a truck will be capable. So we all know that driving is not the only thing that you need. So now what else do you need? Like, they don't realize I do my own taxes. I do my own mechanic work. I do my own welding. I repair all my own tires when I want to. There's nothing in the industry I can't do for myself. Now, do I contract some of that work out? Yeah, I do. But the reality is this. When I have the funds and I want the break, I can pay someone to do it. But when I don't have the funds and when all else fails, I can go and fix it myself, drive it myself, and do whatever else, dispatch it myself. So it's a lot to learn. And that's why starting young, 20, 21, whatever age you can get in the game, that's why it's so important. And there's some thoughts in my mind. I'm not going to put it on your channel because your viewers may be different than mine, right? But at the same time, start young, stop giving away your youth, playing, having fun, and doing all other things that people do, and invest that time in learning your craft. And if you do that, I don't see why you can't be successful at a young age and still be able to, have a joyous life. Because I do a lot of traveling. I just don't put it on my page. I travel by plane. I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 times a year. I'm going somewhere. Just depending on the kind of year I'm having. But I don't even put all that out there because I'm not trying to promote that lifestyle. Most people can't live the lifestyle that I live. I make annual salaries in probably every 15 days of most people. Yeah, like the average person's salary for the whole year, I make that in 15 days on average when I'm really locked in. Yeah. So, I'm blessed and I thank God for everything He has blessed me with, but I put in the work as well. And I took the tools that He gave me and I've used them effectively. So again, I wish everybody well. If it's something I could offer, my DM is always available. I do reply to everybody who DM me. Everybody. I don't leave nobody unanswered.
Joe, you are a phenomenal young man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Phenomenal. And I appreciate your share because it's very valuable. I can say that right now, ringing on throughout, that it's going to be valuable as drivers tap in and listen and hear what it is that you just shared. It's very beneficial. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as well. And thank you for having me on.
Now, I'm not going to hold you because I know you're busy and you got a roll, but I like to say this. May the road always rise to meet your tires. And may you be surrounded by divine guides, mile after continue mile. To take care of yourself, and peace, driver.
And peace to you as well. And thank you. Have a blessed day.